All right, people, we are going to be studying plate motion over the next couple of weeks. So we're going to start with chapter 1 and all of its vocabulary. The key here is that you write down the definitions to the words that I am giving you, and then you can use this sheet to match your words and definitions to get points for your vocabulary. This vocabulary will be used throughout the unit, so it's important that we get it down so you know what we're talking about when we have readings and conversations and labs over the next few weeks. So the first thing is chapter 1, we're going to start with this question. What is the land like where Mesosaurus fossils are found? So there's going to be a few words. We're going to talk about cross-sections and how earthquakes and plate motion and all of that stuff. So let's start with the cross-section. What is a cross-section? A cross-section is a diagram that shows what the inside of something looks like. Okay, a diagram that shows what the inside of something looks like. You've probably seen these before when you've looked at like half of an apple. You cut an apple in half, you can see where the seeds are, the flesh of the apple, the skin. That would be a cross section. Okay, if I pull this picture up, hopefully this shows up. This is a picture of a cross section of Earth. They take a chunk out, they cut it, and you can see the different layers from the inner core, outer core, lower mantle, upper mantle, and that hard, rocky crust. Okay, real crust is hard, rocky, solid rock in that region. Okay. So as we proceed, and remember, you can pause this video, rewind it anytime you need to, okay? The next question is, what is the outer layer, okay? The outer layer is Earth's outmost layer of hard, solid rock that is underneath the soil, vegetation, and water. Earth's outermost layer of hard, solid rock that is underneath the soil, vegetation, and water. Everywhere in the world, we have that outer layer, and it's just under a few things. So if I jump back to the picture that I had here, the outer layer is this region right here. It's part of the crust, is this outer shell. If I cut an apple in half, that was my analogy earlier, the skin would be the outer layer of the apple, the red part or the green part, depending on your favorite kind of apple. So like I said, you have the water, you have mountains, hills, sometimes you have chunks of ice. All of that, this little region right here is your outer layer, okay? And that's important to know, the outer layer. Now that's all in lesson 1.2. As we get to lesson 1.3, we're going to ask, what is a plate? Okay, and I'm not talking about your Thanksgiving plates or your dinner plates. A plate is one of the very large sections of hard solid rock that make Earth's outer layer. I know a lot of people have probably heard of Pangea, and they're like, oh, that's where all the continents were together. But how were they together and how did they spread apart? Well, we have all of these different plates that move around one another. So if I go back here, you can see these cracks here, okay, all over the world. Here's a plate. This is a plate. This is a plate. These lines represent a plate. And you see these continents are kind of on the plate. See how this African plate, you have the continent of Africa fits really nicely there. You have this Australia here is on this plate. North America, South America plate. You have this plate in the Pacific. So there's all of these different plates that move and slide past one another. Each of these is a different plate on Earth. So again, a plate is one of the very large sections of hard solid rock that make up Earth's outer layer. Then we have to know, what is a pattern, okay? So when we're talking about a pattern, we are talking about something we observe to be similar over and over again. Scientists are constantly looking for patterns all throughout the universe in everything we do. I have a pattern on my flannel shirt. We're going to look for patterns even in our Earth crust, how these things move. We're going to look for earthquakes to see if there's a pattern where things happen. There are patterns where hurricanes happen and tornadoes. We're looking for patterns so that we can help mankind progress the best we can and predict things and all that good stuff. So pattern, something we observe to be similar over and over again. Is there a pattern going on when we're doing our research? Now, what is a plate boundary? This is the place where two plates meet. And I'm not talking about my dessert and dinner plate. Again, I'm going back to this picture here. Right here is a plate boundary we're going to focus on quite a bit for the next few weeks. But we have plate boundaries here. This is a big plate boundary here that's got a lot of seismic activity. So everywhere you see this line, there are two plates there, plate here, plate here. This is where the two plates meet. That is a plate boundary, okay? And last but not least, what is an earthquake? It's a sudden shaking of the Earth's surface. Now, this happens because plates move. Plates move slightly, but if they move the certain way, you'll start to feel a shake in different places around the world. So you might have shaking patterns that we're going to look for. Here's a little GIF that I found of an earthquake happening. People are shaking. The earth starts shaking. People are moving around. You freak out. I have never been someplace where an earthquake is. Maybe you have, and maybe we can talk about that later. But again, earthquake is the sudden shaking of Earth's surface. Now, you want to keep these notes here while we're doing this unit so you can refer back to them. You can also click on the vocabulary in the Amplfiy links. That will get you to seeing some of the definitions as well. Now take your sheet, look at the words and definitions, and match them so that you can get a good score. And that's what we're going to work with. So if you have any questions, let me know. Congratulations on getting Chapter 1 vocab all wrapped up about plate motion.